What's up, everybody? Master Reactor here, and today I have a replay. I am on my alt account, TEAMALPHADONALD. This is actually the first account I made on Dueling Book when I started playing like forever ago, and I'm testing warriors on this account because I figure I don't want to play on Dueling High because I'm first on the ladder. So we're gonna check this replay out if it will ever load. Okay, here it comes. Versus Bobbybigplays, I think. Okay? He's on like a warrior go control type shit, I think, or something. So we're going to check it out and see what happens, see the gameplay. I throw paper, he throws scissors, so he gets to go first. Real nice start for him. Turn this up, okay. He opens Saku, Tsukiyomi, Reinforcements of the Army, Kaiku, Premature Burial, and Breaker. So, if you see this account on the ladder, just know that it's me playing. Because this is actually my first account, TEAMALPHADONALD. I was on Team Alpha back in the day, so he decides to set Saku and summon Kaiku. I've got BLS, Saku, Premature, Call, Dawn, and Solom and Saku. I already said everything. Y'all see it anyway, so let's see what I decide to do here. He's got a Kaiku and a random set. I decide to set Call of the Haunted first, set Saku, set Premature, and set Solom and just pass. He draws into a Blade Knight. He goes right to battle and swings. And I decide just to Sakuretsu Armor it, just to get it out of the way. And then main phase 2, he decides to drop Breaker, and I value my Premature and my Call of the Haunted over 4,000 life points, and I want to get a clean shot in with this Donzaloo. So I decide just to Solemn Judgment the Breaker, and he says, okay, that's fine. And he just passes. It's real laggy it was. So I draw for turn, I draw into Kaiku. Pretty okay draw. I decide to run the Donzaloo out and try to get him for the 1400. And that is met with a Saku. But I have Call of the Haunted. So I just call him right back and swing for the 1400. And I pick his Premature Burial, I think. Yep, Premature Burial in the grave now. And that's all I do, I just pass. He draws into Book of Moon, because that's all I could do. Okay, so kind of even on advantage right now. And he has went first, so that's pretty decent. I have a Premature, a Dawn, a Kaiku, and a BLS, which is pretty dead. But it's fine. Let's see what he decides to do. He decides to Rhoda. I say, okay. That's fine. He grabs Exiled Force here. Okay. And he summons the Exiled and just pops my Donzaloo. I say, okay, that's fine. Because I have nothing I can do. He sets Book of Moon and passes. I draw into Mirror Force, which is a pretty nice draw here. So I decide to run Kaiku out here. And I do not Premature. I just wait on it. Or do I pre? Yeah, I don't pre. I just hit him for 1800. And he takes it. And I get to banish his Kaiku and his Exile. And I set Mirror Force and pass. He draws into a Faith. So yeah, he's on like a Go Control Warrior type deck, I guess. Or something. I have no idea what's going on, but... So he decides to summon Tsukiyomi. And he goes to battle, and he swings. And I decide to not Mirror Force this, because I have Donzaloo in the grave that I could just Premature back. So I figure that's just fine doing that. I draw into an Upstart, which is an okay guard. I fire Upstart, and I draw into Dust Shoot. So this is when it's really decent here. Because I decide just to set Dust Shoot and pass, putting him at 4 cards. So I can get this clean Dust Shoot off on his turn. Fire the Dust Shoot, and unfortunately he drew Scapegoat. So we think about it for a minute and decide to put Faith back. Because he's got a lot of power spells in the grave, and we don't have a Blade Knight or anything right now, or any light grave. So I just figure that's the best decision. So the Faith is going to go back here eventually. Okay, Faith is back. And he decides to summon Blade Knight and hit me for the 16, and I decide to Mirror Force, and he changed Book of Moon on it. So this is really nice here. I like that, because I have the Premature down, and I can just go grab Don Zalug, and everything will be good. I can just swing over him, and his Tsukiyomi doesn't really do much because of his big booty. I draw into a Rhoda, which is a pretty nice top deck here. I decide just to fire the Rhoda, and he tells me good top deck. I grab the DD Warrior Lady. So now he doesn't know I have Premature, and I'm not just going to Premature this Dawn here because I know he has Scapegoat. So I just run over the Blade Knight and pass. He draws into a better top deck. I said, yeah, you too. Yours is a lot better. He draws Graceful. He draws into Meta, Tribe, and Ninja Grandmaster Suzuki, or whatever. So he discards Tsukiyomi and Ninja. And this is whenever he does some crazy shit here. He activates Scapegoat, okay? Then he decides to try to Metamorphosis on the same turn. And I tell him, read your cards, and you cannot do this. You have to, I mean, it's obvious why you can't do this. You can't summon a monster to turn you play Scapegoat. Plain and simple. So he gets punished. Now I know he has Meta. So he literally just passes. I draw into a Saku, which is pretty nice because now if he does Meta me next turn, I can just Saku the, whatchamacallit, and I'll have some BLS fodder here. So I go into battle, and I swing in a goat, and I set the Saku and just pass. He draws into a knock, which is pretty dead. I love to see that. That's awesome. He fires the Meta. I say, okay, no problem. He gets the tier, the Vecna. He sucks up my DD Warrior Lady. I say, okay. And he swings, and I sacrifice to armor it. Just say, get that shit out of here. And he passes. I draw on the Jar of Greed. So I decide to just Premature Burial. And this may have been a misplay, but I thought he might have had a Chaos Monster or draw one. So I decided just to go for the Kaiku here. And then, which I should have went for Don Zalug if I would have known he had tried, but I'm not a mind reader. So I dropped the BLS on him. And I decide just to get him for 3k here versus removing. Because he can't do anything anyways. And I might as well just get the damage, putting him at 28. And we set Jar of Greed and pass. He draws into Pot of Greed. Okay, must be nice. Awesome top deck for him. Cool, he tells me good draw, but I already had BLS. So now he draws into Ring and Call. So he literally just can win the game. But for some bizarre reason, something happens here where he doesn't win. He can literally just set Ring and just pass and win. But what this man does, Bobbybigplays over here, summons Tribe and pops the BLS, so no longer can he win. Then he decides to set 2 back rows, and he sits for a hot minute on these back rows. So I'm like, okay, that's questionable because you could literally just discard the other one and win. Then he tries to put the other one back and use Tribe's effect. And I'm like, nah, you already set him, bro. Gotta get him there. And he passes an end-phase Jar of Greed into a Solemn, which is pretty nice. And then I draw into Graceful, which is also pretty nice. So I fire this Graceful here. And I get Dust Tornado, Kaiku, and Solemn Judgment. So I decide to discard Dust and Solemn. And I just say, if you have Mirror Force, you win. If not, let's play ball. So I hit him for the 200, try to go in here. He rings the Kaiku. So okay, that's fine. He misplayed like crazy, because he literally could have just won. But let's not talk about that. And then I hit him for 200. And I get to banish in, and I banish his 2 darks, or no, his 2 lights engraved, sorry. The Ninja and the Blade Knight I get to remove here. And then I set Solemn Judgment and just pass. He draws into a Sangan, okay. So he tries to call the Haunted, but I have a clutch Solemn Judgment here, because I know he's just going to get Tribe and win, so that doesn't happen. He sets Sangan, and I draw into a dead duo because I'm at 700 life. So I literally just have to go to battle here and swing. Swing bada bada. He gets the search. He gets his faith. I say okay. I set duo as a bluff and just pass. He draws into torrential tribute. Okay. He sets torrential and sets faith and passes. I draw into my pot of greed, which is an amazing top deck here. I pot of greed. Okay. I draw into upstart and knock. So that is just the game. I fired the upstart, putting him at 18 exactly. And instead of summoning the exiled, I just knock him and swing bada bada, and he knows what time it is. So glad I drew that knock versus the exiled, because I would have summoned exiled and he would have torrential me. So that was really clutch there. So we're going on to game 2. Bobbybigplays did not do too well there. He really threw that game. So he opens Jinzo, MST, Rhoda, Exile, Scapegoat, and Kaiku. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. He sets the Scapegoat right away, and then he summons Kaiku and passes. I've got a pretty good grip here. I got Graceful, Knock, King Tiger Wangu, Snatch, Blade Knight, and Tribe. So I'm reading that this is Scapegoat set because how fast he said it, and I was spot on with the read, which is really nice. I fire the Graceful Charity right away. I draw into Mystic Swords on level 2, Exiled, and Rhoda. I decide to discard Blade Knight, because I figure I have a lot in deck, and I discard level 2, which is questionable, but he's on like a warrior go control deck, so it should be fine. I summon the King Tiger Wangu first, as playing around Torrential. So, and then could get punished here with the MST, but luckily he didn't set it. But he's going to do it next turn anyway, so I decide to snatch deal. And I hit him for the 3,500. And I just pass. He draws into a DD Assailant. Okay. So, he gets his 1,000 life points. Okay. And he fires the MST and gets his Kaiku back. And he summons DD Assailant and hits me for the 1,800. And he does not banish a Kaiku. So, I mean, I don't know what the hell this guy's doing. He could have did it, but a little late now on the main phase 2. And on my turn. So, I draw into Pot of Greed, which is pretty damn nice, not gonna lie. Sack the shit out of this guy. Bobbybigplays. I decide to fire Rhoda first. This is to thin the deck a little bit, so I don't want to draw anything that, it gets one less card in the deck. I feel like Rhoda in first here is a pretty decent play. So, I fire the Rhoda. I pick up Blade Knight. And then I use the Grin himself, Pot of Greed. I draw into MST and Jar of Greed, which is pretty nice because I know he has Scapegoat I'm still reading. So I'm going to MST that right away so he can't use it. Because that kind of punishes me a little bit with the meta and shit. I run out the Tribe and decide to discard Knock and pop Kaiku. And I discard the Jar and pop the DD Assailant. And I get him for the 1,600. And I just pass. He draws into a Saku, which is a pretty nice draw here. He fires the Rhoda. He gets the Ninja. Summons the Ninja. Smacks over my Tribe. Okay, I'll take the 200, putting me down to 6k. He sets Saku and passes. I draw into a Duo, which is pretty nice. Not gonna lie, Duo is pretty nice here. I give the Duo him. Pay the 1,000. And I discard his Jinzo and his Exile Force. So I could run out Exiled here and gamble, but not gamble, but or I could Blade Knight and gamble and hope it's not a battle trap. So this is what I decided to do. I decided to save the Exile just in case, and I run into it, and of course it's a Saku, so that gets Saku, that sucks, and I just pass. So either way, it would have been the same exact thing. He draws into a Blade Knight, and he smacks me for the 3,800. Putting me down to 1,200 life. So how am I going to come back? Let's see. I draw into the Call of the Haunted. The clutchest card I could have drew right there pretty much. Not really. Probably BLS might have been better. Do I have a Dark Light? No Dark Light. So Call of the Haunted is pretty clutch. He draws into a Bottomless Trap Hole. He goes right to battle phase. And I activate Call of the Haunted, targeting my Blade Knight. Come on back, buddy. Blade Knight. And he sets the BTH, Bottomless Trap Hole, and passes. Pretty good time to have that because I top deck into Premature Burial. and I'm just thinking that it could be Scapegoat, so I might as well just get him to fire it now. Probably shouldn't have done this. Probably should have just either saved it or just waited, but I'm at 1200, so I pretty much have to, like, do something anyway, so I decide just to fire Premature Burial, and I say King Tiger Wangu, just to get the goats going if he's got them, but it's a bottomless, so unless I get exiled, I get punished there no matter what, so that's fine. I still get to smack over his ninja, and he's top decking. I'm at 400, and he is at 3,700, and I just pass. He draws into the Scapegoat. Okay, really nice draw there. I draw into a Rhoda, so I obviously have to fire the Rhoda here. Torrential Tribute will be really bad, but you just gotta gamble. He's at 3,700. Might as well go for it. I go for the Blade Knight. I smack him down and decide to hit for 2k. And he Scapegoats right away, and I hit 2 of them. And I pass, and I just say, please no meta, please no meta. And he draws into a Saku, so that's going to clear one of them. He sets Saku and passes. I draw into an Upstart. So I figure there's no reason to not Upstart, so I go ahead and Upstart. He gets his stack, putting him at 47 and me at 400. So real close game here. I decide just to run with the ninja and say, fuck it, you got Torrential, you got it, we'll go to game 3. But he does not, so I just attack. If he has Mirror Force, we'll go to game 3 as well. And I smack over, and he Saku's the Blade Knight, which is fine. So got board presence here, and he's top decking. So he draws into another Scapegoat, which is funny. Okay, I draw into Solemn Judgment, which is pretty damn nice. Because I hit him for 3,800, and for some bizarre reason, he does not Scapegoat here. So Bobbybigplays, I don't know what's going on, bro. Why are you not Scapegoating to save yourself? Now he's at 900. I set Solemn Judgment and just pass. He draws into Tsukiyomi, so he summons Tsukiyomi, swings over the Blade Knight, and he thinks he's okay, but I have Solemn Judgment to say no. He says SJ, I'm like, give him the thumb. I flip Judgment, and that is the game. Could have been different if he would have Scapegoated that. I don't know why he wouldn't Scapegoat. Like, what are you saving it for? But that's just the way it is, though. So, y'all hit the like, hit the sub. This is my alt account that I play on. Whenever I want to test the deck and, like, my rating's real high, I'm first on the ladder on Dueling High. So I really just don't want to, like, test something that I don't want to play. Like, I play Turbo always. You see me when I post videos, always Chaos Turbo. So this Warrior build is something new I'm trying out here. And I just don't want to, like, risk it and fuck my rating up, even though there's nothing really for, like, being first on the ladder. I just think it's pretty cool, though. That's all it really is. So I'm lagging like crazy right here. Let's go to the rankings. Let's check and see if Dueling High is still 1. So I can go to sleep knowing that I am first place on the GOAT format ladder in the community. Let's see. Could be playing, you know, I did win a couple times. So maybe I could have, actually I did play the Warrior deck once today and I got a win. So that was clutch. This shit is lag central. Like, what the fuck? I feel like it's not my laptop, but it very well could be. But, I mean, everyone's been having problems with Dueling Book lately. So, it's just not looking good. Where can I ever, like, connect to click the fucking button so I can get the GOAT?